All right, what is up? Welcome to Speed True Sports. This is Bert. I'm with Dorjee. Today we're talking about how the two supposed championship favorites are somehow not looking great right now. Now, I do want to preface, we're only like 5 games into the season, but there have been some concerning signs from both teams about what's going on, specifically with the Lakers and the Nets. So those are the two teams we're talking about. The Lakers have had issues with chemistry, with fit, with coaching. The Nets have had issues with coaching and not having Kyrie and James Harden. What do you want to talk about first, Dorjee? I'll let you speak on it first.
I want to mention the Lakers first. They obviously blew that huge lead against the Thunder. That was actually horrible from them. Like, even though they had no LeBron, they still were up by 26. And I find it really, really like inexcusable for them to do that because OKC, they were 0-4 before that game. Like, they obviously have SGA, they have Josh Giddey. You know, Josh Giddey played really well that game. I think he was the second youngest player ever to record 10 assists in a game, like behind LeBron. Like, Josh Giddey's been a good pick for them, and SGA has been on fire as of late. Like, he started off a bit shaky, but back-to-back 30-point games. It's great from him. So the main issue for the Lakers is definitely their defense. They do not look good defensively. Also, Russ. I mean, like, obviously they made that big trade for him. In my opinion, I mean, it's a bit early to tell, but I think they should have traded for Buddy Hield. He would have fit them a lot better than Russ, as Russ isn't really a good off-ball player.
I'm gonna stop you right there. I'm glad they did not trade for Buddy Hield. Keep going. Yeah. No disrespect.
Yeah, of course. And Anthony Davis, he's been good. Just obviously had like that injury scare against the Spurs, but yeah, the main issue is definitely defense. They allowed the Thunder to go on, I believe, like a 52-28 run around third quarter. Absolutely inexcusable because the Thunder, their offense it isn't the best. Let's be real. Besides SGA, they have no shot creators. While the Lakers, LeBron basically like handpicked his team, chose all the shooters. You know, you got Dwight Howard back, got Rajon Rondo, Ken Melo. He basically got his friends back, and yeah, they're 2-3 right now, I believe. So honestly, it's like also Frank Vogel definitely has not been doing too well for the Lakers, I believe. I see a lot of Lakers fans complain about Vogel and his decisions, especially in late game situations. Definitely a mixture between Russ and their defense is probably why they're doing so terribly. Any input on that?
Yeah, I have a lot of input on that. I honestly, their defense, I feel like it's bad because of their rotations. Frank Vogel is running the stupidest lineups possible. I mean, he is you can't have a lineup with Russ and Rondo in it at the same time, and he did that like through multiple games. That's disgusting. You can't have a lineup with Russ, Rondo, and LeBron. That's blasphemous. You can't have a lineup with Russ, Rondo, Braun, and DeAndre Jordan. You need to be fired. He makes so many questionable decisions. I don't think DeAndre Jordan should be starting. But here's my thing, right? Why did Anthony Davis just bold-faced lie to Russell Westbrook's face? Because there were reports that Anthony Davis was saying when he was recruiting Westbrook, first off, tampering. Second off, he said to his face, like, I will play the center for you so we can space the floor better for you. And honestly, I feel bad for Russ because AD just straight lied. He has not played center much at all. He doesn't.
Makes no sense either. Makes zero sense.
Most of it's on him. I think he doesn't like to play center, but like, you told Russ you were going to play center. You got to play center, or at least reportedly. You got to play center, bro. That is the best lineup they have, is when he plays center, LeBron's at the 4. That's the only way they can use Russ correctly. The other way is to not have him play with LeBron. So how do you fix this as a coach, right? you have two ball dominant players, both that one of them that is good off ball in LeBron and one that's just not good off ball. How do you remedy this? All right, 5 minutes into the game, you put your starters out there. 5 minutes into the game, you sit Russ. You let LeBron cook. You let him and AD handle the rock and everything. Then you bring in your bench, and with your bench, you bring in Russ. Now Russ has his own little unit to run, and he keeps you in the game. Not just in the game, he might even extend the lead, right? It's very simple coaching decisions like this that for some reason, like, I feel like a lot of times this happens where everyone on the outside is like, this is so obvious. Why is this not happening? That there has to be something on the inside or just something inside Vogel's mind that is making him think that playing Russ and LeBron together, like exclusively almost, is a great idea. It is not. I know they need to build chemistry, and that's a big point for them. Their entire team needs to build chemistry, but like, you're setting them up for failure by putting out these rotations. And trust me, I know about bad rotations. I'm a Wizards fan. I watched almost every game last year. Our rotations did not set us up for success, and they were horrible. The same thing is going on in LA. The rotations are not setting them up for success, and they're suffering from it. Yeah, and their defense, like I said, I think it's it's less of a scheme issue, more of a personnel issue. Not to say they don't have the personnel, but just the people that are on the floor at the same time together don't mesh well. And this all just kind of goes back to coaching for me. All respect to Russ. He does play better when he gets to handle the ball a majority of the time, or at least 50%. And they need to work on doing that in the starting lineup. They need to LeBron needs to sacrifice a little bit in terms of ball handling, which kind of sucks because you don't want LeBron James to stop handling the ball, right? So somebody's got to sacrifice. It can't be Russ if they want to be successful. He's not a shooter. He's not an off-ball threat in the slightest. He cannot be the one sacrificing. And also, I've been defending Russ as much as I can with the blaming the rotations and blaming the lineups, and they don't know how to use Russ right now, which is true. But you cannot have so many turnovers when you are a player that is dependent on handling the ball. His decision making at times is so extreme. It's flat out bad. I mean, there was a play, I think it was in like the second game they played, where he just drove right into two people and then like threw the ball over his head. Was supposed to go to one of his teammates, but landed right in the hands of Draymond Green. Actually, this is the first game then. Yeah, because it was against Draymond Green. First game. Threw it right to Draymond. Draymond was standing there, just went. And he took off. Like, he literally passed the ball to the opposing team. He's really, really careless with the ball, and that is damaging their team. And that's going to make Vogel be like, now I want LeBron to handle it more, which is like, yeah, you kind of do. But now you're alienating Russ even more because now he can't do what he does best because he needs the ball in his hands for that. And so this is why, I mean, like, we both questioned immediately the fit, right? On paper, this is a fantastic team, one of the most stacked teams in NBA history on paper. But as I say at the start of every year to all the casuals who are like, it's the two best teams that are immediately locked for the finals. Lock. They're in. No. The game is not played on paper. We need to see these teams play before I can say anything about who's making what finals. And people that had the Lakers and the Nets locked, it's not looking good right now, man. Speaking of which, do you have anything else to say about the Lakers, or should we move on to the Nets?
Yeah, I think we should move on to Brooklyn, honestly. We kind of just said everything about the Lakers. I guess I'll start off with the Nets. Obviously, this team will not win the championship without Kyrie. I'll just say it right there. They really need Kyrie. Kyrie's just, he's at home getting a free paycheck while not getting vaccinated. I don't know what's going on with that. Like, will they trade him? Will they not? I don't know, man.
That was evident the first night they played against the Milwaukee Bucks.
In a 7-game series?
That's the team they're going to see.
In a 7-game series, the Nets will not beat the Bucks. That's just without Kyrie. And Kevin Durant's still playing well. He's Kevin Durant, obviously. But James Harden, after this new rule about jumping into players to bait fouls, he's really kind of struggling so far. Obviously, I think he'll do fine. Like, I think he'll be fine. But right now, he's not playing like James Harden. He's struggling to get his calls. I believe the refs are doing a really good job, though. Like, there's some videos online. But, like, he tries to, I think against Miami last night, he tried to, grab Bam's arm. And, the refs didn't call it. That's a really good no call right there. So I think his lack of free throws is really hurting his game so far.
Yep.
Not to mention, on paper, the Lakers, they have a very good bench, but their defense isn't that good. Both teams, they don't have good defense.
Oh, the Nets defense is atrocious. It is.
Yeah, it's horrible. And I feel like Steve Nash isn't that adept to making good rotations so far, even though his team is so talented. I mean, Patty Mills was a good signing. He had a good first game. I believe the Nets definitely need Kyrie, and their defense, I don't know how you can fix that. You can maybe explain about that?
Yeah. So first off, I do want to say that James Harden's free throw attempts are at a career low.
It's very low.
Since 2011, something like that.
Yeah, his OKC days.
Yeah, it was some ridiculous stat to where it's been the lowest he's ever had in his career. And I believe in the past 5 games, he's had an average of 4 free throw attempts a game. The way James Harden draws fouls, he's always done it like this. He keeps his hands low, and then kind of when he gets to the rim, he kind of flops as he throws his arm up. He if you watch, he kind of drives like this and then tries to. They're not calling that anymore. And if they are calling it, they're calling it on offensive foul. I love this for the game of basketball.
It makes it more fluid.
Yep, less free throw attempts that are unnecessary make the game so much more fun to watch. For James Harden, I know he hates this. He's getting old. He doesn't look like he's totally in shape. He's probably still. Honestly, he did mention that he was rehabbing.
And, also to interrupt you on that, if you compare James Harden from now to 2019, he looks completely different. What happened? He gained a few pounds then. I remember, I think he was pretty built in Houston. He was actually pretty in shape. I don't know what happened when he got to Brooklyn. Maybe because we all saw that viral photo of him before he got traded to the Brooklyn when he was really, really big. But I don't know, man. I feel like James Harden isn't taking good care of his body so far. And that's kind of hindering his play. Obviously, he's 32 now, so he's gonna decline eventually. So it's definitely his lack of being in shape. It's definitely hurt him as well.
I definitely think he's out of his prime. I don't think we're going to see those crazy 50-point triple-doubles.
Yeah, for sure.
James Harden ever again. But I will say, to play devil's advocate, I think he said that he spent a lot of the summer rehabbing, so he couldn't really work on his game or adjust or do all this other stuff or get in shape. But man, it's still concerning to see your what's supposed to be your second best player on the team look this bad early on. Their defense, I'm gonna be honest, I think Blake Griffin's a big proponent of why this defense is so bad. I said it from the start, from the moment they signed him last year, I was like, this is one of the most overrated signings ever.
Bro, it was so overhyped. Oh my god.
Everyone was like it took him 5 games to get a single dunk, and then once he did, it was replayed on ESPN everywhere for weeks. Even going into the playoffs, they were still playing that dunk. I was like, man, relax. This guy is no offense to Blake, he's low-key washed right now. He does not have it like he used to, and that's because of injuries, because he's getting older. And that's kind of the whole Nets team right now, besides their rookies and their extremely young players. They're all kind of old, and it's kind of hurting them right now. Their defense is just, they have no solid defensive players. Losing Jeff Green
was a huge loss.
Yep. I said it from in the chats. We both said it. It was a massive loss. He's on the Nuggets now, I believe. Huge loss because at times he was carrying their defense. I mean, at times he was playing small ball 5, and he was putting up great defensive performances. Losing that versatile of a defender and elite of a defender, Horrible for their team. Horrible decision by the GM to let him walk. They should have been trying to re-sign him by any means necessary. And these rookies that they got are going to take a few years to develop. Claxton's been okay, not at the level that you'd want to see, but he's still good. And LaMarcus Aldridge, I don't know. I haven't paid much attention to what LaMarcus has been doing. He hasn't really popped out to me.
Honestly, I think he should have just retired, like, for good. I don't think he should have came back, honestly, especially with his health. It is kind of risky, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't know the particular details on what's going on, but like anything, even if the doctors cleared him, I don't know. If I was a GM, I'd still be worried about bringing him back. I mean, you don't want to be the guy that's responsible for something tragic happening.
For sure.
Knock on wood, but yeah, the Nets are a big mishmash of players that are exiting their prime, players that are washed, and then players that look. It's just KD right now. Like, let's be honest, it's KD and Patty Mills. Like, they're looking like the new KD and Kyrie. Without Kyrie, I mean, Kevin Durant's got a phone. He's got to hit him up and be like, look,
you got to tell him, man, just got to take the vaccine, at least the first dose, man.
The only way I can see this happening, like, is if they lift the mandate. But that, if it does,
that won't happen. I don't think it will happen, honestly. That's my opinion.
I think there's a chance it happens if most of the country gets vaccinated anyways. I think there's a chance. But look, it's New York. It's one of the most liberal states. Like, I don't think there. You're right. But their only shot is that happens like right near playoff time, and they gotta pray Kyrie is in game shape already. Like, that is the only way to go. And I mean, I joked about it in our group chat, but I was talking about how, like, if it comes playoff time and Kyrie's not eligible to play because he's not vaccinated, there's gonna be riots outside that building. The riot started game 2, man. Like, they started in game 2.
I saw that.
That's crazy, man. That's crazy. But this is.
Do you think they should trade Kyrie eventually or before the deadline? If it continues like this, if the Nets are like so let's say like they're like the 4 or 5 seed, like they're underperforming, do you think they should trade Kyrie for someone like Ben Simmons or just anyone basically?
Okay, so a lot of people were saying trade Kyrie to LA, but there's the problem. LA's got the same vaccine mandate, so there's no point in sending him there. He won't even be able to play. I don't think Philly has it. They could do that deal. I'm worried about the fit, especially with James Harden and how particularly not well he's been shooting, or just, as compared to what he used to do. I'd be a little concerned about that. And also late game, obviously, we know what happens with Ben Simmons late game. That's probably a deal I would consider if I was the Nets. But I feel like the problem is more in, one, what does KD want? Does KD still want to play with him? Does KD still want him on the team? If he does, your hands are kind of tied as a GM. You still got to keep him on the team. You don't want KD to get mad or request a trade or leave.
Yeah.
But if KD gets fed up eventually and he's like, look, we're not going to win a ring with Kyrie not playing any minutes and eating up all our salary, let's trade him. If he says something along the lines of that to the GM or implies it, I'd be looking to trade Kyrie. The question is, what team would want him? What team would take that risk? Because, like it or not, I think Kyrie sometimes gets too unfairly criticized over things.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, like even I criticized him last year when he just straight up left the team, didn't say anything.
Yeah.
And look, that's a fair criticism. Even if he was dealing with mental health issues, you gotta at least tell somebody what's happening, what's going on with you. They rely on you so much. Like, that is your team. Those are your guys. But I understood, and I kind of like what he's bringing to the table in terms of, like, look, if you are dealing with mental health issues, take a break. It's okay. So in certain issues, I do think he gets a little over criticized. But let's be honest, I don't think it's going to stop, and it's because the media loves to do it. They love stirring up controversy with Kyrie, right? So wherever he goes, something is going to happen, most likely. And in terms of what teams would want him, I don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to tell,
Can you think of
honestly.
any teams? I mean,
I can't honestly. Like, I'm not too sure about like the vaccine mandates too for the states as well.
yeah. You know what? Maybe the Mavericks. They could take a swing. They need talent. They need a much better team than they have right now if they
I
want.
mean, like Luca and Kyrie would not be a good defensive backcourt, but
Would
it could
not.
work. Yeah,
Not at
it
all.
could,
But
but
they have good defensive players in other positions, so maybe it makes up for it a little bit.
yeah, but Tim Hardaway and Porzingis would have to be included. So
Yeah, for sure. I'm trying to look at other teams right now. Maybe the Pacers.
they're not a win. I mean, like they're like 1-4 right now. So
But they're trying to win now. Like,
yeah, it's true.
it's not because their team is bad. It's just I have no idea what's going on with the Pacers. Utah, if Mike Conley falls off this year, but so far he's been looking pretty solid. Minnesota wouldn't want him. Sacramento, they can't because the vaccine.
Yeah, I think Cali.
Portland, I don't think they'd be able to because I think they have a vaccine mandate as well.
Yeah, it's very hard to trade Kyrie, honestly.
There's nowhere I can really see. You know what? The Phoenix Suns, and this is
That
a big
would be
if Chris Paul falls off this year, that might work. I don't know.
I mean, so far the Suns haven't been that good so far. Like,
Yeah, they're 1-3. That's really interesting with them. That's another this game isn't played on paper moment, right? Is that
Yeah.
the Suns are 1-3 right now. Yeah, at the end of the day, I mean, look, the Nets and Lakers are both in the pickle right now. They both got to figure ways to get out of it. I think the Lakers' problems are at least fixable. I'm not sure about the Nets unless they make some big changes to the roster. And you're right, their coaching has not been good either. Steve Nash has been he's been flaunting his inexperience. If you
for sure.
But yeah, these two teams are in a pickle. This is why we always say, look, it is the first hot game, so preface that. But this is why I always say, games not played on paper. Your team can be stacked and still not play good together. So, out of both these teams, which one do you think has the better chance of making the finals? I'd say Lakers.
I say right now the Lakers for sure. I mean, I would say. See, the thing is, I would say like the East is easier for the Nets to go through, but you have the Bucks, you have obviously Miami, the Wizards. It's gonna be harder I think it's gonna be harder for the Nets to make the finals than the Lakers. I think the Lakers will have an easier path. Yeah, definitely. I think the Nets could make the conference finals at least, but it's a big if because, like as I said before, without Kyrie, I don't think they'll go that far. Like second round, they'll probably get knocked out by the Bucks or something. So
yeah, this is going to be a very interesting season to watch. But yeah, one more time, games not played on paper. Watch the games. We'll see what goes on. I want to see what changes the two teams do. The Lakers, I want to see these rotations get better. I want to see the coaching get better. The Nets, y'all got to get something done with either get Kyrie back in the building or make some trade.
Trade him. Yeah.
Yep. Got to do something, man. But yeah, thank you for watching. This has been Speech True Sports. I've been Bert.
I've been Dorjee.
Thank you all for watching once more. Like, subscribe, share. If you do all that stuff, make us really happy. So thank you all for watching. Goodbye.